So let me pull up, got mine pulled up here, um, and get the journal entry. Okay, cool. So again, I'm Bobby Davis. Doing these live journaling sessions using mine, kind of showing how I use the tool, different features that it has, and just the way it sort of adds value to me. I did a video yesterday actually where I was at the airport and I was using my headphones, and I think the sound may be better on that. So. hmm. I'll have to figure something out because I like that. But anyways, full transparency, I work with the Mind team, and we're building out this product, and we hope it's useful, and we want to learn as much as we can. So um, I do this to see if ideas come. We sort of trade ideas about this, and hopefully, it sort of maybe can inspire somebody to try the tool and to get something totally different or similar out of it. So let's get into the entry. This particular entry is more about sort of understanding the change that I'm going through right now. I'm going through a big move, and pretty much anybody close to me or anybody in my circle has known about this, and they've been sort of with me as I navigate these different emotions. At first, it was a lot of excitement and intrigue, and this is going to be great, and then the idea of like okay, am I prepared? And then ultimately the final stage was this feeling of like of deep sadness. And yeah, I thought about that a lot, and as I'm saying it out loud, I'm realizing maybe these super specific experiences that we're going to go through aren't aren't so unique at all, really. I mean, somebody leaving home, it's a sad thing, and I think I wanted to just explore that. So I talked a bit about why I think that is, and this idea that when you're making a change like this, this is ultimately some like psychological death. At least for me, that's what it feels like. It feels like there's an idea of who I was or who I am rather, and something has slowly been sort of growing from inside that outward, and it's sort of taken over it. And there's a point maybe where it passes the threshold where you realize like, man, these other things of that past identity or that past way I did things, those sort of have to go, and that's super hard. And I think ultimately I boiled down to in the writing here that I think that that's hard because we really have to relinquish familiarity, and we are very we are at a huge disadvantage in a mystery as humans, I think. And um and so I think it's only natural to sort of feel that way. So let's plug it in. I think that's enough intro and see what they get back. Mm, my light's not as good as it was yesterday, but it's okay. All right, let's go through the summary. The writer expresses their longing for someone and their fear as they embark on a big life change. They reflect on their tendency to reach for familiar things that represent comfort and question why they do this. They recognize that a significant part of their life is changing, and these changing parts are worried about the transition. The writer acknowledges that going through this change feels like a metaphorical or psychological death. And as they move, they are bombarded with visuals of comfort. Again, okay, awesome analysis. So I think I didn't even really touch on that in the beginning. So the reason that this all popped up was because I was getting visuals and really strong feelings of missing a particular person in my life that had sort of separated from and had not been in my life for a while. I don't know why I'm talking in code. I was thinking about a girl that I used to see, and I was really wondering why that was coming up. Like, why now should it be? And I think that's how I started to dig down into this this place of like, she represented a certain part of my life, which was, stability. It was familiar. It was regular. It was predictable, right? I mean, that's sort of when we're in long relationships or when we have these long stints in our life where we're doing stuff in a certain place or working a job. Those times represent familiarity. And I think, after that relationship had run its course and I moved on, it sort of cascaded in an entire series of changes. And so I think maybe for whatever reason, my mind is referencing that as just like this huge point of comfort, or maybe like the symbol of comfort for that chapter. And so it seems like that's one of the things that has the most potent effect on me. Let's look at the emotions: longing, fear, reflection, worry, recognition. Um, Yeah, that's actually that's really nice. The longing part in particular, because I was just kind of thinking, I was like, man, I wish the emotions or maybe keywords, I wish it would recognize that this person is sort of like the spur of the whole like kind of thought tree. I think that would be something nice to add or figure out some way to do that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Or try. Let's get to the questions. This is where the money's at. What are the familiar things that represent comfort to you? Come on, man. You know, questions already starting off strong, but I think I can even go deeper as far as what I gave. What do you think these changing parts of yourself can find a sense of security in the midst? Hold on. Oh, sorry. How do you think these changing parts of yourself can find a sense of security in the midst of the transition? And what do you think the visuals of comfort during this time of change symbolize to you? That question is awesome. Good. I want to talk about number three because that's really cool. Number three to me represents um, sort of the pinnacle of I think maybe the summary of this entire entry, which is these visuals of comfort are sort of like anchors. I think moments of big change, moments of moving, moments of redefining oneself, moments of new opportunities or new relationships or new places to live. These are all incredibly disorienting. Not only physically they can be, but psychologically they seem to be extremely disorienting. And so I think these visuals of comfort act as sort of anchors. It seems to me, at least, it's very important for me to have a story of who I am, for me to have this sequential, like connection, like these, almost kind of like blocks, maybe in like a blockchain or something like this. Is how I think about it. Like each piece is connected in some way, um, and so maybe these visual pieces of comfort are not only symbols to re-anchor you to the story, but they're ammo to maybe pull some lesson out as you go into this new phase. Or maybe they're for me um, maybe they're things that energize me as I go into this new phase, or almost pieces that can stay with me as I go into this new phase, and be symbols of lessons, or be symbols of things that I've not triumphed over, but things that I've integrated, over my journey. And, maybe once you take a challenging situation and make sense of it and make that part of yourself, then it's a comforting thing. It's a moment of sort of victory. It's a moment of sort of like, yeah, I made sense of that. And so I think ultimately that's what these visuals of comfort symbolize to me. So interesting. Another interesting thing that I didn't even really get to write about is that there have been things, visuals that give me comfort that didn't previously. So as I'm getting ready to leave, things that I hadn't noticed in my environment, things that I hadn't noticed in the area that I stay in or the experiences around me, suddenly start to illuminate and suddenly are brighter than ever as beacons, so to speak, for me. And they give me an incredible amount of comfort. It's sort of like the feeling inside is almost like being pulled away, being pulled away from something, and you don't know if where you're going is safe, and so you're trying to grab onto anything that you can. And when you're grasping for your life, anything looks like a handle to grab on. The smallest edge of this pen might look like something that you can grab onto. And so to bring the metaphor back up, I think those I think the idea of things looking like they're able to be grabbed onto means that more of the environment that was around you has significance. And I think in a way that is a remarkable that is a remarkable piece of you know urging change within myself, or a remarkable side effect of it, um, is that the environment that I'm in sort of hyper illuminates or hyper saturates with meaning, right? Like as it's being pulled away, now everything is meaningful because you realize. And also, when I say you, I'm I'm really talking to myself because I'm looking at myself down here. So this is a conversation between me and myself. This is not advice. This is not me saying to you. This is just me having a video conversation with myself ultimately. Um, but when this environment gets sort of illuminated and hyper saturated with meaning, this is powerful for me because you can just see those pieces that you weren't able to see before. And for me, I noticed my grandmother in a different way. I noticed my friends in a different way. I noticed things, about my family in a different way that maybe once annoyed me before. Now I'm thinking like, God, I'm gonna miss that and I won't be able to do that. Restaurants that I would just ride by every day, all of a sudden I'm like, that's my favorite spot. And it's like, yeah, was it though? Everything sort of has this hyper meaning to it. And that seems to me, and I'm figuring this out with you guys, that seems to me an incredibly beautiful side effect. Um, and having been able to talk that out, that even just that gives me a lot of resolution. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you, Mind. Yeah, I love mine. This tool always seems to give me really good questions. I know I probably said it before, but you can also refresh and you'll get or reanalyze and you'll get new questions, which is dope. If you like the ones down there, make sure you save them when you go back. But you can get new questions, and I think that's so cool because the way I sort of interact with information and life circumstances, I really like to write. That's my sort of tool on how to do it, how to think. It's sort of like thinking spread out, and not saying one is better than the other. I just like this, and so this is sort of like helping me carve out these thoughts and make more sense of them. Let's see what other questions they gave me. What specific things do you Oh, these are kind of similar, actually. What specific things do you reach for that represent comfort and home during this change? How do you think these changing parts of yourself can be reassured and comforted during this transition? Can you explore the idea of psychological death further? What does it mean to you, and how does it relate to your current situation? Also, a really good question. So, anyways, guys, this was a really, really powerful journaling session. I got a lot from that, really did. If you guys want to check out the tool, of course, the link, it's all in the bio. It's all down there. Everything under this video title. So go check it out. The link is in there. Also, when you submit, you get these buttons. If you want to leave us any feedback, if you need to report a bug, we take that stuff seriously. So anything that happens, please let us know. Or any feature ideas or things you would like to see, or even just what you use this tool for or what you don't. We just love this sort of dialogue. So anyways, thanks guys, and talk to you soon. Peace.